Welcome to The Unseen Crowd, a podcast about the people and movements driving change from the margins. Change often begins in places you can't see, where a crowd gathers, carries strategies, and reshapes futures, even when ignored. This crowd is loud, unstoppable, and unapologetic. These are their stories. There's a saying that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with the group. Today we're tackling a very topical and controversial issue in movement building, collaboration. Welcome to The Unseen Crowd, a podcast by Movements from the Margins. My name is Jonathan, and you can call me Jono. I'm going to be your host for today. I'm joined with guests from all over the world. And today we're going to be talking about collaboration. As you introduce yourselves, I need you to tell me your name and one song which you think and feel artists came together and produced something very marvelous.
Thank you, Jonathan. My name is Henrico, they don't pronounce, and I'm the executive director at ILGA Asia. I think the one song that came to mind is going to sound very cliche, but I have to say that will be We Are the World, produced by Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder.
Okay, thank you for that. Anthony?
Hi, my name is Anthony Oluoch. I am the programs manager at Pan-Africa ILGA. Thanks, Jono, for having me back at the podcast. The song that has been playing in my head this morning, and as soon as you mentioned the word song, it became even louder, is Give Me a Man After Midnight. And I'm going to stick to that. Give me a man after
Okay.
My name is Bram Lange. I'm Manager International Programs with COC Netherlands and also the coordinator of the Power of Pride Alliance. I don't have a song.
All right. Anyway, so today we're really going to be focusing on why collaboration is vital and why it's also hard at the same time. So to kickstart the conversation, we all know there's the Power of Pride program, which has been in collaboration with ILGA Asia and Pan-Africa ILGA. So I want us to really start dissecting and focusing on the strengths. What have been the strengths of this collaboration?
The word collaboration has really resonated with me in preparation for this podcast. And if I may say, I do personally feel, I think also collectively with people from my community, that collaboration isn't singing the same note. It's about learning to play in rhythm. I grew up queer and effeminate in a very conservative household, and music has always been my refuge. The piano and violin taught me harmony isn't sameness, but it became my North Star for collision work. Now, what I'm going to say would be collectively, diversity used to be our biggest strength. But now, more than ever, unity must be our strength because the opposition is already unified. Now, when Thailand moved on to marriage equality, this is not something that happened overnight. It is a journey that saw us from 10, 15 years, slowly from every single aspect and people from the society that came together. We convened organizers from different countries. It's not just people from the country itself. It's learning from across ASEAN, across the region itself. And I think that each brought a different note. Faith-based dialogues from the medical field, legal strategy, digital safety. We didn't flatten differences, we coordinated them, and that is when collaboration turns into power. I think some of the principles that's worth sharing over here would be also very much reflected in the Power of Pride program that I really had this honor to share with my colleagues over the past 5 years, is that there's always this shared value apart from just shared branding in the Power of Pride program and alliance. And what that means is co-ownership of our outcomes, not just co-signing a logo.
All right, thank you very much. Anthony?
In my opinion, I think the fact that we're sitting here with African organization, an Asian organization, an organization from the Netherlands, talking about the same thing, talking about a shared goal. As you said in the beginning, if you want to go far, go together. If you want to
go fast,
go alone.
Yeah.
But our goal really is to go far, is to tackle all these issues that are facing the LGBT movement. And for me, the only way to do that is together, because there's a beauty in the diversity that we bring to the table. We are all very different, but we all have a common goal. We are all very different, but we're going towards a similar destination. We will have different ways to get to that destination. It's just a matter of understanding that, and this is what I've found working within the Power of Pride, that we understand that the road that we are taking towards that destination is different, that we understand that we may take different routes, that there will be different challenges in those routes, but we are going towards a destination, and we're here to support each other. And that's how the Power of Pride has been for me in terms of collaboration.
Thank you.
I agree. I think with beyond shared values and having a common aim, I think also a clear understanding of everybody's different roles and responsibilities in the program, in the collaboration, is also very important, because it avoids also all kind of issues, because you have a clear idea of who's doing what and why people are doing what they're doing and where we are collaborating on things. I think also the building of trust over time is also really important, and I think that also that trust comes from collaborating together and also being open about things that are not working right, and having the ability to provide feedback to each other in a gentle way and with humor. I think that has really helped us a lot. I think that building of trust, it takes a long time to build trust. I never know if a saying is also an English saying, but a Dutch saying is, if you want to build trust, trust comes by foot and leaves on horseback. So you build it very slow, but it's easily broken. So cherishing that trust and making sure that you understand if there are issues, that you understand why the issues are there, and that you can communicate about it, that also keeps that trust alive throughout the years of this program and the collaboration.
All right, thank you very much. You've introduced trust, and I want to build on to that. What effective practices have there been on trust building? We know collaboration is built on trust. What practices, what tools have there been implemented, or they are being implemented currently to make sure that collaboration is anchored on trust?
I think that the systems are in place to make sure that if there are questions about what's happening in the program, or if some organizations and some people have questions about what the organizations are doing or why it is most effective or is it relevant, that we have the systems in place to ask those questions, to have a space where you can go and say, look, I don't really fully understand what's happening here, why are we doing this, but in an atmosphere of calmness, of trying to figure it out together. And that has happened in different working groups in the Alliance. It has happened in the program team where the three alliances come together, but also in the one-on-one conversation, just having time to have a one-on-one call with Henry to say, look, what's really happening in your organization or in your board or in the work that you're doing. So having also the patience to listen to what the others are going through or why they are doing the things that they are doing.
I think there was a question that you asked in the beginning when you were setting up this conversation. Why is collaboration vital? It's vital because we need to go far. Why is it hard? Is because of that, as you said, trust comes on foot and lives on horseback. And I think that's going to get stuck in my head as a Dutch saying. The reason why it is hard is because of trust. It is really difficult to build trust within people, because for me, trust is about understanding and knowing that whatever it is that my partner or whoever it is that I'm working with, whatever it is they're doing it for my benefit as well as theirs and our collective benefit. So building that, because we are creatures of distrust because of the past and because of how we've been treated. The community has been crafted in a way that we will distrust everyone's motives. But building that trust, working with Henry and going, actually, I know that Henry is making that decision because of something that will benefit me and will benefit Henry and will benefit our community as a whole. That's the most difficult thing about collaborating, building that, getting us to a point where we know that we are working for each other's good. But it is incredibly important. And as Bram said, it takes a while. And it takes a lot of action for us to get to that point. And I think with the Power of Pride, we've got to that point.
Okay, thank you very much. So I was actually looking at these organizations. ILGA Asia is quite huge and big. Pan-Africa ILGA is also big. COC Netherlands is also big. So what are the challenges? How are you coexisting as these large and big organizations? I know at times it's very hard to coexist in the same space, to work together. What is it that you've been doing that makes you coexist? What practices have you done to make you coexist? I know it's very difficult at times, but I know above all and the underlying thing has been collaboration. So what have you done for you guys to coexist and work together like this?
Thank you, Jonathan. No, I also felt like to build on what my colleagues has mentioned earlier. A little bit back on trust would be, I do feel personally that over the past 5 years, I just wanted to say that I've never been working in a consortium alliance that makes me so comfortable in terms of collaboration. It is just that we walk the talk in terms of building trust. As Bram and Anthony has mentioned, if we find that something is not working, we immediately will come together to be like, hey, this is not working, but how do we want to work better? But what is so comforting is that every time when we come together to think that something is not working together and we want things to work better, it's not for us, yeah? It really is for the myriad, the vast community that we serve. In ILGA Asia alone, we have more than 230 member organizations across 43 Asian countries. And I think that the African region is even larger than that, with more than 300 members, if I'm not mistaken, Anthony. Now, I just kind of wanted to, it brings me to these 3 points that I've written down that, again, very much thanks to Bram as our dear coordinator as well. I do feel that over the past few years, there's these 3 rules that we have always been consistently using and resourcing. Number 1, it would be our local lead decides the tactics on their turf, right? That is rule number 1, that we think that this is why Power of Pride is still important. This is why the purpose behind POP is for what it is. Number 2, budget transparency in every quarter. And this is something that we are still practicing even now in 2025, very much towards the end of the alliance. And number 3, to me, is very fundamental for the 3 of us in 3 different organizations, whether is it in ILGA Asia, Pan-Africa ILGA, or COC Netherlands, coming together to ensure that this alliance doesn't just function, but we walk the talk in terms of how we want to serve the community that we purport to do so, which is conflict is surfaced early in facilitated check-ins, not after the grant ends.
I think it's also helpful that we are in our shared values, in our goal, we are very similar, and still we are also different organizations, working in different regions with different roles and responsibility, which also means that it's quite often quite clear who's best positioned to take which role. And I've been in other alliances where that's not always the case, and then you end up with more tension between organizations with overlapping roles and responsibilities. And I think that is something that from the start we've been very clear about, and it helps to also avoid conflict and to see where you can actually combine forces and have strength in doing things together.
All right. No, thank you.
I think what I've learned walking into the Power of Pride as well is that understanding that Pan-Africa ILGA understands the African continent, ILGA Asia understands the Asian continent, and COC Netherlands understands the COC continent. And we all are, as Henry said, we're experts in our field, and understanding that and keeping that in mind I've just seen it work. I've seen meetings happening where we sit there and we ask each other, okay, so this is what is happening on the ground. How do you resolve it? And Pan-Africa ILGA is seen as the expert on the African continent. And ILGA Asia is seen as, because we work as close as we can, as close as we are with the people on the ground.
Yeah. If you could assemble a team of any movie, which 3 artists would you pick and why?
Jonathan, what are you doing to me? There are 2 areas where I know nothing about, which is music and movies.
Oh my God.
And why?
Does it have to be a movie? Can it be like a play?
Still, it's fine. It works. I'll give it to you.
Over the weekend, I met this absolutely great playwright and an actor.
The one you chose to go alone?
The one I chose to go alone, yes. And his name is Masai. And he was so great at storytelling. So I would love for him to write the story, because he told a story about his life in the township, and it was beautiful.
That's one.
So he would write the story. The score would be done by Hans Zimmer, who was just like, well, the sound is brilliant, that's true. And because I just absolutely love him, some of the parts of the show would be done by...
Yes.
I've forgotten his name, and I can see his face. Someone wanted him to be the Black James Bond.
Idris Elba.
Thank you. There you go.
Oh, thank you for that. Henry?
Okay, I just thought of this, but thank you for this spontaneous thingy. I love this, by the way. I will come to who is going to lead the movie or play, but that is going to be based on bias. So as a musician, I'm just going to say that I would want to nominate Reiichi Sakamoto, a Japanese movie composer, to be the soundtrack composer, just because I'm really so into him. I think that all the movies and animes that he has composed music for just really brings you into this realm of just beyond realism, right? And I think we all kind of need that in the kind of work that we do. Now, this is rather recent, but I've recently read this book called Blessings. I think it's written by Chukwuebuka Ibe. I'm sorry if I can't pronounce the name well. It's a 2024 novel set in Nigeria. It follows Obifuna's story, which is still a very vivid reality, I think, for many, many of us across, not just in Africa, but Asia and also Latin America. Now, I think the biggest lesson I learned from this movie and why I want somebody as real and raw to write this play would be, I'm not a parent, but every single couple who wants to have kids should read this book, because it teaches people that you shouldn't be having a kid if you're not prepared for your kid to turn out to be gay. And this one line that really shocked, this really stays very, very poignantly with me, is that it is one thing to love a child, but it is another thing for the same child to feel loved. So do read the book Blessings. Now, down to who's going to play this movie.
Yes.
It's going to be biased. I'm a big, huge fan of Beyonce Knowles Carter. So it's going to be her.
I was waiting to hear Beyonce's name.
So that's me, Chukwuebuka Ibe, Reiichi Sakamoto, and Beyonce Knowles.
Oh, nice. What a combination. Bram.
I honestly have no idea, so I will go and see the play and the movie. No, it's also, I think in collaboration it's also good to be able to share your weaknesses, and I'm proud if I'm able to mention the name of 3 actors, so let's not go there.
So let's just go back to our conversation. Please share with me an example of a misunderstanding or a challenge that you faced in this alliance as part of the collaboration. What challenges did you face and how did you address it?
I'm the new child in the block, so I will sit back and listen.
I can go. It's kind of easy for me though. Still rather proud, and I think it's also a blessing for us to be among the PT that nothing is so big to the point where it is so memorable as a huge challenge and conflict. And I am saying this in truth. I think the reason is very much as what we have shared earlier, that this collaboration also really, thank you, Bram, as being our coordinator, to very consistently put in, I think, small blocks to help us facilitate ourselves to ensure that conflicts do not metastasize to the point where it is dangerous, quote unquote. Yeah. So I feel that our collaboration has always worked because we have been coordinating our differences. Whether it is about you're unsure about budgeting, that I feel that tensions hasn't really gone to daylight, hasn't gone to Twitter or X or social media. We are not that point yet. We are not that point yet. And at least from the PT, I felt that way. And I just wanted to encourage everyone who's still listening to this, even not just in Power Pride, because I really do feel that the very opposition that we are fighting against, the anti-gender, anti-rights movement, because our narrative is anti-hate, right? So I think that even in Power Pride, we really need to be more than resilient to understand our role, that we shouldn't allow ourselves to go towards that. So yeah, that is honest feedback from my end into how conflict has been taken care of.
So nothing on the continent context?
On the continent context, I would say that, of course, I think that community conflicts here and there, it will always happen. It is not something that we can prevent, but it is also a very salient reminder to all of us that it's because we are human, because it's our differences. I wanted to bring back to one quote that I have mentioned very much earlier, and this really just came in 2025, okay, I'm going to say this, and please do cut me off if you feel it's not suitable. Now, I'm blessed to be born in the Asian continent. We are the most diverse people, but we are also the most divisive people with a myriad of cultures that we have. But this really then reminds us of the differences that we have, but also the beauty of diversity that we are all basking, swimming in. But yeah, folks, diversity used to be our strength, but unity must be the one that is continuing to move us forward.
I'm looking back at the very start of Power Pride, when we had our first meeting to come together to see how we could organize this program. There was a lot of talk about what is threatening us and what is threatening the movement and organizations on the continents, and how can we work with that. And we did a session at the very beginning focusing on that, but also focusing on what could be the issues that could divide us, that could destroy our program and our collaboration of three organizations. So we tried to envision that the program had completely failed. We had ended up in fighting. What would have happened? What could have happened that led to that stage? And I think that was really helpful, because it also meant speaking out all the things you don't dare to say about. We might have ended up fighting over money. There might be issues because PI and ILGA Asia both have a board structure. COC has a board structure, and there are sometimes issues with board and membership. So what does that mean if that would erupt? So we had conversations about everything that could potentially happen. And I think it helped also. It just helped to make it easier to address some of these things later on also, if they would come across, because you at least also knew what the other organizations saw as the potential issues that could divide us also. So it prepared us also in working on those more difficult issues, potentially more difficult issues in our relationships. And I think that was really helpful.
I'm just going to talk about something that I've learned, not just on this table, but also in my experience working in the movement. As Henry said, the movement can be very divisive, and we can fight a lot. And we know how to fight because we are born out of conflict. Our very existence, especially in the African continent, and I suppose in the Asian continent, our very existence is raw and rough, and we come out of our families because we are fighting to be allowed to exist, and fights will happen. There's a big diversity of thoughts and patterns and how we deal with conflict. But one of the things that I've learned over the years, and I've also heard it mentioned in this podcast, is when you're working as a collaboration, you need to have a table that is open, where you can put the things that are disturbing you about the collaboration, about the work. You can place them on the table. You don't have to discuss them immediately, but they're there. They're in the open. Everyone can see it, and they can be tackled. So it's really a matter of being able and trusting each other enough to place issues on a table and then tackling it and clearing that table at the end of the day or at the end of the week or every quarter and going, okay, so these are some of the issues that we've faced. These are some of the things that are causing a little bit of a distrust amongst us. Let us tackle them head on. And I think that's something I've learned in this collaboration over the last 6 months, and I've learned in my life that in any partnership, have an open table, talk about the issues.
I felt like I really kind of wanted to just share this couple of nuggets of evidence-based stakes that we're in, right? Because if we are now talking about the conflicts part of what we are in, not just as a community, but putting it on a global scale, I also want to remind everyone who's listening to this podcast on the dire stakes that we are in. So on the criminalization reality part of it, right? Around 1/3 of UN member states still criminalize consensual same-sex relations, 60 by law, 2 de facto by state as of 2024. Now, this is just a backdrop of collisions, of our collisions that we're working against. As a snapshot, I think in Africa, 31 African countries still criminalize. Some are escalating penalties, while others, for example, Namibia in 2024, are moving towards decriminalization. Now, this is both showing risk and momentum. But I think really on a global scale, the anti-gender coordination in Europe alone, anti-rights networks have raised more than US $1.18 billion, and this is just within 2019 to 2023. Now, folks, my friends, this is proof that the other side is super organized and well-resourced. So if we stay fragmented, we play on their terms.
And they know that we're fighting. They will use that.
Yes, they do. We know in every ship, be it a partnership, relationship, situationship, there's always decision-making involved. I would like to find out, when it comes to the power of pride, collaboration, how has decision-making been?
Well, a lot of the decision-making also, of course, is in the beginning of the program, in the development of the program. So that was with the 3 organizations, with input from a lot of activists from different regions. But I think also that during the program itself, a lot of the decision-making is done by activists and organizations in the 22 countries that are in Power of Pride. So it's not us who need to take decisions, it's the participatory grant-making panels, it's the committees on emergencies in country that make decisions on how they want to collaborate, how funding is best used. So I think we've been able to, a lot of those decisions are on national level. Whenever there are still decisions needed on a more programmatic level, it's really simple. It's the 3 organizations coming together, having a conversation, trying to hear each other out, what the different arguments are, and moving forward. And it sounds maybe too rosy, but I really don't think that in all the years we've never voted. We've never voted.
I hope to have a relationship like that where there's no conflict. And moving forward, right, with this collaboration, with this partnership, what do you envision for the future?
I'd say more of this, more of people sitting over here and going, we've never voted, and having those decisions made. But also, and I think understanding, as Henry said, that the other side is organizing. So us coming back and going, okay, so this is how we're going to tackle the organized other side. Us coming back and going, we have worked so far very well up until this point. What is going to make us stronger? Because we need to grow. We need to get better at tackling the absolute vitriol that is coming at us from everyone who is opposed to us existing. So I think more of these conversations around collaboration, more of conversations around centering care, more conversations around how are we going to become more independent, more ourselves, more open, more loved by everyone else, more, and it will all come from strengthening ourselves internally.
So before the two of you then answer as well, I have a question. What is the added value of LGBTQI plus collaborations, like the Power of Pride? For the two of you, that's your question.
So I think it's undeniable that intergenerational collaboration without hierarchy must also be talked about. So what that means is that if I may allow myself to say that, I do feel that for the past 5 years, either visit the one-on-one, the weekly and monthly meetings, not weekly will be too much, our monthly meetings, I do feel being mentored by Bram and also Nate, and also maybe vice versa too. And this really cuts across as well as the beautiful team that we have at ILGA Asia, and also across the membership and community that we have. And how that actually goes for me is that, this added value, this mentorship is not a ladder, it is a circle. This is what I really consistently felt, Bram, since 2021, that it has been a circle. Now, without saying that y'all are older than me, but elders do taught me endurance in hostile rooms. No, but at the same time, people who are younger than me, I think that they taught me new languages and also the urgency that perhaps our generation might not feel so urgent about sometimes, right? We both feel seen, and I think that collaboration then becomes a renewal, not a succession. Now, I have a few ideas that I felt like what can actually do better and what can be an added value in the way that we do things. We should pair elders with youth on co-facilitating public events, rotate on who leads, then create a two-way learning sprint. Seniors teach power mapping, juniors teach digital security, or creator era storytelling. I think that's what it is, right? And perhaps at the end of the day, we want to agree on a challenge with care norm, and that is, what that means is, we talk about differences, we talk about conflicts will happen. So it is okay to interrogate ideas, but never make it personal, not the people themselves, depersonalize it.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. And your last parting shots before we call it a day? Your parting shots.
Bye. It's great to be here. It's great to talk about collaboration because, as you said, we need to go far. But we often tend to think that we work in silos, but we do not exist in a silo. We exist with other people, and the only way to go beyond these challenges that we're facing is to work with other people. So that's my parting shot. Thank you.
I think for me, it's that understanding that we need all the strength and all the initiative in a country or in a region or globally to move forward is very important. I think sometimes, especially more organizations that have been around longer, they think that they know it all. And we see that in a lot of countries, also in the Netherlands, we've seen that. So I think, how do you make sure that also the younger, the newer initiatives have a seat at the table, that they are contributing to the growth of the movement? Because we need all those voices and all the energy of all the smaller initiatives and the bigger initiatives in a country and on a regional level. And I think it's up to us to make sure that we try whatever we can to create a system or a structure where that is possible, where they feel heard, where they have that seat at the table. So that's why I would want to put our strength forward.
Jonathan, for my parting shot, allow me for 2 to 3 minutes. I really felt very, very much compelled to bring it back to how the anti-gender collisions are very professionalized and well-funded. And we are looking at over billions of dollars in parts of Europe alone, and we're not even looking at North America itself. And we cannot afford siloed excellence. We do need synchronized courage moving on. Unity doesn't mean uniformity. It just means that we agree to the destination, to our end goal, our safety, our dignity, our economic justice, and we let each context choose the road. The world needs many kinds of strength, and our job is to bring them back into rhythm. Our work essentially is anti-hate and pro-human potential. And I'm just going to read this very small poem that I saw online. It's actually by this Instagram user called #TheBoringGay. The Boring Gay. Now I'm going to read this. And I dedicate this to our beloved queer communities who are listening. Every queer person reading this is a role model to someone without realizing. You do not need 1 million followers, an article in Out magazine, a famous sibling, or to be on the next season of Drag Race. You are a strong and substantial representation of what it means to be queer every day. You help people scared and confused about their queer identity realize it's amazing to come out. You show people outside of our community why we are so magical. So please continue to hustle, thrive, and live out loud. People are depending on you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you. So you've heard it, folks. Everything to do with collaboration, the highs, the low, the ups and downs, the do's and the don'ts. Thank you very much for joining us for this episode. Please join us again next time for another deliberation that is thought-provoking. Thank you very much for joining us. Meet you again next time. Bye for now. This podcast has been made possible with the support from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of the Netherlands through the Power of Pride program, an initiative of COC Netherlands, ILGA Asia, and Pan-Africa ILGA, being implemented across 22 countries in Asia and in Africa. The program supports over 250 LGBTQI+ community organizations to advocate for inclusive laws and policies and strengthen LGBTQI+ communities and civil societies in Asia and Africa. Please follow us to find out more. Thank you for listening.